All right, I floated this idea to you earlier today. We're both multiple pet households.
Yes, we are.
This is a really, really lazy thing to talk about on a podcast because everybody talks about their pets. But it's holiday time, and I didn't have time to really think about something to cold open with. So
We're recording on Monday, November 24th because of the holiday weekend and because I have a toilet that literally the tank cracked and it flooded the bathroom in the basement.
You know, we're segueing off of the actual thing we were going to open about, but many people have used the euphemism before that they've exploded a toilet. But you can actually say you had a toilet explode on you.
The tank exploded, not the bowl. But yes,
it's holiday.
Exploded many a toilet. Never mind.
Hey, we've all done that.
But so it's Thanksgiving week. We're hosting here, and I have 4 dogs and 3 cats. Every one of them is a rescue, and you have.
I've got the 2 dogs, 2 cats. All well,
and you would have had more cats, but you've had some passed away. The last couple of years.
We've had 8 cats we've had 4 cats at a time before.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot, and I don't know why we keep doing it. We have a pair of cats now that's like one of the more challenging sets of animals that we've had in a while. We've got this 2-year-old cat that she's kind of a Siamese-ish, but she's also part bowling ball. And then we have this other little black bobtail kitty he's a little over a year old. And he is a terrorist. And when I tell people he's a terrorist, they're like, "Oh, that's so cute. He just gets his stuff. He's got a lot of energy." I'm like, no. I think he's Al Qaeda. Like I think he really is. Like, he terrorizes the other dogs. He wakes. The biggest thing that he's doing now. And this is he's also one of the most lovable cats in the world. So
yeah,
you put up with his shit. But the biggest thing is he likes to wake. He thinks that breakfast time is like 4:00 in the morning.
And
relentless about it, meowing, flapping at the blinds to the point where Aaron and I have to like throw things at him. So we've been dealing with this for months now, and we finally decided. I don't know if this is like this felt like a very Gen X solution to this problem. We got a couple of auto feeders for these cats.
Okay.
And this thing really, what it does is you set it up. It connects to Wi-Fi. You pull up the app. You set a couple timers, and it spits out a certain amount of food. So they can because they can't free feed because, like I said, the older cat she's a bowling ball with legs. She'll just eat all the time.
Plus, you have dogs, so
and the dogs will eat. Will eat the food. So we set these things up, and it ran the first time last night. And Mikey, the little black bobtail cat, looked at it like it was from another fucking planet. And the funny thing is, he's like, and he's got to have like special food. I can't see as I say these things. I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
You're gonna have these cats for a while,
a long time. Yeah. So he's got to have special food because if he eats the other food, then he gets sick all over the place. It's just a mess. But he's looking at this thing, and he's really smart. But he sees he sees the food coming out the front of the thing, so he immediately goes, "Well, it's coming out this way, so it's got to be coming in from the back." So he's like got his paw in there. He tips the damn thing over. So now we're like, okay,
I love it.
How are we gonna do this? Are we just gonna have to like? I don't know if this doesn't work. Like Erin might just move out because she's like waking up at 4:30 in the morning feeding these cats and everything. It's insane.
I wish I had a solution for you. I do not, but hearing of your pain makes my misery with the cat hair that we just cleaned off of this a little.
We're literally grabbing jack hairs and Jack, your orange kitty that we're pulling cat hairs off of the table.
It makes it a little more bearable to hear about somebody else's pet issues.
Yeah. So. I don't have a funny ending to that. I just wanted to bitch about it for a minute.
That's good enough.
Fair enough?
That's good enough.
I think we got it. Let's get into sports. We are just 2 middle-aged refugees from Generation X.
Man, we grew up in a time that was a lot simpler than it is today.
Could we gamble on sports back then?
No. Not really. We did, but not legally. But now?
Now we can, and we can talk about it on a podcast, and we can talk about a lot of other things too.
And we're going to. I'm Lanny.
And I'm Andrew.
And this is Bet Small,
Lose Small. So we're both golfers.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I haven't golfed in a couple of years now. Not for lack of wanting to, or just haven't had the time. I know
you're
you golf
busy
a
in the
bit.
summer.
I'm busy a lot in the summer with doing music festivals and all that. But you know how it is as a golfer in golf. You can suck for 16 holes in a round, and then you hit that one shot, and you can be through 16 holes, and you're like, I'm never playing golf again. This is terrible. And then you hit that one shot, and it's that one shot that always gets you back out there on the tee box next time.
John Popper would say it's the hook.
It's the hook. Yes, that's right. This week was the hook for the contest.
Yeah, I was trying to figure my way out of it because everything I tried missed, and then finally this week I hit.
Yeah, this week we'll start with
one.
Let's start with the contest, because when we have something to brag about, we should brag about
Let's
it.
brag. I'm ready for one.
Okay. You had a now we're recording on Monday, so there's still
the Monday night game is still to come.
You still have the potential to hit one more pick because
Okay.
you have San Francisco minus 350 tonight. But you hit the Rams minus 330 at 10 pesos.
Man, they look good.
You hit what I called your alt line parlay.
Golf parlay.
It was a 3-teamer: Houston, Indy, and New England, all with alt lines, all that hit at plus 269. You hit a 5-teamer. You hit a 5-team parlay.
This week was a little easier to pick because there were some just obvious games. And you know who I'm riding right now? I think the Bears are one of those teams. The Bears are they've won 5 straight.
Yeah, they've
They're
won
going
5
good.
straight. Yeah, I don't know how they're doing it, but they are. And that was the team that, well, actually Detroit was the one that looked like they might let you down because they had to go to overtime with the Giants. Detroit's in trouble. They've got looks like Laporta's out for the year now.
Tampa's in trouble too.
Tampa's in big trouble. But you hit that 5-teamer, and then you didn't hit this. But my God, you got so close on this.
It was.
You had the ultimate. You had a middle bet on. You were trying to middle the Dallas and Eagles game. You had Philly money line, Dallas plus 7.5, and
in the over.
Oh, the over 47.5 for plus 401. Now,
there was a couple things that happened late in that game that just killed that off.
It got so crazy at the end. Okay, Dallas punts to the 2-yard line.
Yeah, I'm following along on this game.
You're in the grocery store.
I'm in the grocery store.
I'm texting you, and you're going what is happening? I'm in
it's it's 4th and 14. We're late in the game, or later in the game,
Mm-hmm.
and I need a couple things to happen still. And I have confidence. And I look down at my phone, and it's 4th and 14, and Dallas is about to punt. And the next thing I know, it's 1st and goal on the 7 for the Cowboys.
Yeah. Because the Cowboys...
And I was like, okay, well, this puts me toward the over because I believed that Philly was going to still come back and win.
We got to a point at the end of the fourth quarter. It was about the last 6 or 8 minutes when it legitimately looked for a time like both teams were kind of going, here, you know what? We're good. You win this game. You win this game. And they were like, no, it's fine. You win this. Dallas punts to the 2. Dude decides to run it back. Now, look, I get it. As a returner, maybe you're thinking, I got some space in front of me. He runs across the field for 30 yards and then gets hit. I mean, and I'm talking blindsided by 2 Cowboys defenders and fumbles the ball. They pick it up on the 7. That's where you went from 4th and 18 to 1st and 7. But that's not where we stopped.
No, they didn't score.
Because they did not score. Dallas comes down. Now, and this is the part that I disagreed with at the time. It worked out okay. It ended up working out okay for Dallas because they won. But they went for it on 4th and goal at the 1.5. And they threw the ball against that Philly defense that you put them with their backs to the end zone when they only have to cover like 11 yards worth of field. Like, don't do that. Run the ball up the middle a few times. Ball goes off of CeeDee Lamb's hands. It's a pretty good defensive play by the Eagles DB. They turn over the ball on downs. I disagree with the call. I think you got to kick there because at that point in the game, Philly hadn't scored in the second half at all. They'd held the Cowboys defense had kind of figured something out about Philly's offense. I think you take the points there. You go up 24-21 and force the Eagles to beat you. And that was kind of
which is what I thought was going to happen.
Yeah, we were kind of rooting for that because we were like, hey, listen, look, 27-24 would be, or 28-24 would be perfectly fine. Yeah,
that would be perfect.
But that's not how it ended up.
But we didn't hit that one.
No.
But what did you do in the contest? So I'm up like 100 pesos for the week.
Yes, you ended up clawing back quite a bit. You were over 400 in the red in the total contest for the week. But you ended up clawing back. Quite a bit. You're up almost 110 this week. So that's going to take you down to about. You're just going to take you down to about 300 underwater. And
okay,
we'll figure up those totals for next week.
We're coming for it next week.
I had a couple of close ones. Now, I had Indy and New England in a parlay. Indy was plus 156. New England was minus 330. New England won. They had another one of these games where they just kind of did what they had to do against the Bengals.
The Bengals are what they are.
I mean, but
the Bengals didn't have Jamar Chase. This is not some sort of signature win.
Yeah, T. Higgins went down.
Yeah, this is not a signature win for New England, but it doesn't matter. When you go on the road in the National Football League and you win, you take that however you can get it.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to watch.
Indy would have taken that win over KC in the same exact fashion.
Yeah.
Except they got dragged into overtime and drowned.
Well, and I'll tell you something about Indy that I learned yesterday. And I know we brag on quarterbacks like Daniel Jones and Seattle, Sam Darnold, and all these guys that like have converted from pumpkins into princesses, and then at some point we expect them to go back into pumpkins, maybe on the way back. Indy is not going to get there with Daniel Jones. I'm just telling you.
Wow. Right. Okay. You heard it here.
Because the only reason I say that is because he has a tendency when they need him to do something, he seems to like. His brain just shuts off, and he makes bad reads. He takes too long to make reads. He takes a bad sack. He doesn't feel pressure behind him. And then once you know that he's got once he's got the deer in headlights look on his face,
it's too late.
You don't have to even worry. Then you can sell out and stop the run, which is what happened with Jonathan Taylor in the second half. They couldn't run the ball in the second half, and that's where Kansas City. They were up 21. Were they up 21-3? I forget what they were up. They were up big on Kansas City. And I texted you at one point and said, Kansas City's not winning this game. And I'll tell you another thing. Kansas City is not better than Indianapolis overall. It's just Indy kind of got the butterflies and folded up at the end of that game.
Philly was up 21 and lost. And then Indy was up 17 or 18.
Something like
and
that.
Lost.
Yeah. Yeah.
So go on with your. I got a couple things I want to get to before we take a break.
So I missed that one. That was Indian New England parlay. I did hit on a big one, and this was the one that you sort of scoffed at last week because I had the Jets involved in this. It was Indy plus 3.5, which hit because Indy did only lose by 3. Houston plus 5.5. We'll talk about that game in a minute. And then the Jets plus 13.5, and they lost by 13. And that was plus 600, baby.
That's a big one.
I picked. It seems like everybody had interest in betting on New Orleans this week, and they were terrible.
I had no
against the
interest
Falcons.
in betting on New Orleans this week.
Well, I did, and it burned me. I had them in a parlay with Green Bay, who Green Bay just kind of took care of business. So I missed that one, but I did also have 3 individual picks. I had Philly money line. I'm sorry, that needs to be X'd off there. I missed out on the Philly money line, but I had the Rams. I had the Rams minus 6.5, and I had Arizona that I bumped up from plus 2.5 to plus 3.5, because they only lost by a field goal to the Jags, and that was a game. If I don't think you got to watch any of it, but it was one of those games that should have just had yakety sax playing under it the entire game. It was just not. It was a weird game to watch, and it was just one of those where it looked like nobody was super interested in winning. And I don't know what Jacksonville does with Trevor Lawrence at this point.
Are you positive for the week?
I am positive for the week.
Okay, good.
I was positive. I was about plus. Let me see, 140 and 160. I was about 56, 57 up this week.
Okay,
so
awesome.
Yeah, so I added to my lead, but you took a huge chunk back. You keep doing that for another 6 weeks, and you'll be in good shape.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, I've got a poll question.
Okay.
I'm going to read you the top 8 teams by record.
Okay.
Actually, I take it back. I'm going to read you every team that has 7 wins or more.
Okay.
And I want you to tell me if there are 1, 2, or no Super Bowl teams in this list.
Okay.
New England Patriots are 10-2. The Rams are 9-2. The Broncos are 9-2. The Eagles are 8-3. The Bears are 8-3. The Colts are 8-3. The Seahawks are 8-3. The Packers, Chargers, Jags, Bills, 49ers, and Lions are all 7-4. Are there 1, 2, or no Super Bowl teams in that list?
Super Bowl winners or make the Super Bowl?
That will make the Super Bowl.
I think there's 3.
Well, only 2 can make the Super Bowl.
Oh, I see. So from that list, the Super Bowl.
Do you think that the Super Bowl winner comes out of that list?
Probably.
I'm going to give you the.
Where do we go after that? Let's go. You said that's everybody with how many?
7
How
wins.
many? 7 wins.
I'm going to give you the 8 team. Only the 8 team wins.
Okay.
Seattle Seahawks, Indy Colts, Chicago Bears, Philly Eagles, Denver Broncos, LA Rams, New England Patriots. 1, 2, or none.
I think the 2 can come out of there. Philly, the Rams.
I think the Rams are going to be your NFC champion.
They look like it right now. I mean, we know better than this. We know better than this because it's never what it looks like in week 13.
They have played. There are only 5 games left for the Rams.
Yeah.
I think they have a bye still. Mm-hmm. Oh no, I'm sorry. They've played 11. They've already had their bye.
Okay.
New England has only 5 games left.
Okay.
They're 10-2.
Okay.
And if they get to like 13-4, they're going to be the number 1 seed.
Yeah. I have concerns now about the Patriots.
I don't think they're a Super Bowl team.
You don't think the Patriots are?
I think the Rams are a Super Bowl team. I don't see Denver as a Super Bowl team. I don't see Indianapolis as a Super Bowl team. I guess my concern is I don't know who's going to win from the AFC. And if you told me it was the Bills, I would tell you they're a very flawed defense. If you told me it was going to be the Ravens, I would laugh in your face. If you told me it was going to be the Chiefs, I would laugh in your face. If you told me it was the Patriots,
what about the Broncos? What do you think of them?
They have a Bo Nix problem, but they probably have the best coach in the league.
Okay, so I'm looking at the standings now. Now you realize that after this week that now the Baltimore freaking Ravens are tied atop the AFC North.
Yeah, they're leading. They're gonna be in the playoffs. I think the Steelers are gonna fade.
They did not look good.
I don't think they're very good.
I don't think they're good either.
I think the NFC or the AFC North is maybe the worst division in football.
I think there's still something wrong with Lamar. He's just not. He's not playing the way that you never watch a Ravens game and think, man, Lamar is just taking this over right now. He's not done that, and this is pre-injury too. Like even before the injury, he didn't look like he was in the same unstoppable mode as he's been in the last few years. And I'll say that same thing about Mahomes. You know, the Chiefs now, they're only a game back in the wild card race.
They're not in the playoffs right now, but they have big trouble running the ball.
They do. And they also have big problems. They have big problems with their receivers getting open. Mahomes does not look comfortable at any time. In fact, Indy still had, even though Indy doesn't have as good of a defense as teams like Buffalo, better defense than Buffalo, not as good a defense as Denver.
No.
Indy was still able to do that same thing where they were able to rush for and mostly keep Mahomes in the pocket and take away all of his options, and that's why they were up big.
I guess if I'm picking one out of that group, Denver is the team. Like, I don't know that I trust the Patriots yet. And Mike Vrabel's done a great job. I'm not the biggest Vrabel fan simply because I think people romanticize his run in Tennessee, which was okay, and then he had 2 bad seasons and he was gone.
You've had a thing with Vrabel. You're out on Vrabel. Not out on Vrabel. You've just never been in on Vrabel. I'm interested to.
I think he's okay. So when he was at Tennessee,
Yeah.
what did he have? He had a great defense and he had Derrick Henry.
Hit fucking Ryan Tannehill. Like, what? You got to
I'm
give him a
just
little
saying.
bit of props for doing what he did with Tannehill.
Tannehill was fine. I had him as a fantasy guy. He was fine.
Okay.
But
Was Tannehill ever a top 5
Oh, no.
quarterback?
No, of course not.
In the AFC.
I don't even think Drake May's a top 5 quarterback yet.
Well,
but he's getting there.
He's gonna be.
I think he's very good.
Yeah, he's gonna be there.
I guess it feels we're going to get roasted in the comments, but the Patriots and the Broncos, they just don't feel like Super Bowl teams. And I think whoever represents the NFC, and I believe it's going to be the Rams, they're going to beat the tar out of the AFC.
This is why I've kind of resigned myself. You said last week, I hate to tell you this, but the Bills are not going to win the Super Bowl. I've just kind of resigned myself to that this year. They might make the Super Bowl. They are not going to win because I think there are 3 or 4 teams in the NFC that could beat them outright right now. And I'm saying Philly, Tampa Bay, the Rams. I think Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl, if everybody's healthy, on a neutral field, Tampa Bay can beat them.
I don't know that Tampa can get healthy. They have a lot of issues.
I also think the Rams and Seattle both could beat the Bills.
I think the Rams and Seattle would make a pretty good Super Bowl, but it's going to be it's going to be the NFC Championship because both those teams they cannot win their division. So
here's a team I want to ask you about.
All right.
It's not really on the playoff radar yet. The Houston Texans. Their defense looked head and shoulders above the next best defense in the league, which I think is probably Denver or maybe Philly.
Here's the thing about the Texans. They are 6-5 and they have a plus 61 point differential. Mm-hmm. And they have only given up 182 points, and that is the lowest in football.
Their schedule is really interesting going
forward. Except for the Rams.
Their schedule is really interesting going forward here. And the Rams have an excellent defense too, by the way. We saw that last night. But here's their schedule for Houston going forward.
All right.
They play at Indy. They play at KC. Both of those teams.
They could be 6-7 after that too.
They both have looked really. They could be 6-7 after that, or they could be 8-5.
I think okay.
And they've both looked. Both of those teams have looked shaky. Then they've got Arizona and Las Vegas.
So that's 2 W's.
Those are both home games.
Those we'll count those as wins.
Then they're at the Chargers, and then they're home for Indy in Week 18.
The Chargers have big issues too.
And if things go the right way, are you willing to look up to see what the odds are for Houston to win the AFC South? Because I'm gonna take a look. That defense was devastating against the Bills, and the Bills do not have a bad offensive line. The Bills have the Bills have a top 5 offensive line.
If you're looking at the Bills and you're trying to figure out where they're good, it's on offense.
Yeah, it's on offense, and it's specifically with their running game this year.
With Josh Allen.
Yeah, with Josh Allen. And
he can run the ball.
And James Cook. Yeah, well, and James Cook, they don't have any receivers to throw to. Dalton Kincaid is their tight end is their only real receiving threat from the last month, and he's been out.
I think the Bills and the Chiefs are basically the same team. Mm-hmm. With the Chiefs having a little bit better defense and the Bills having a little more dynamic quarterback with being able to run the ball.
Yeah.
I think they're kind of the same thing.
They're not that far from having a pretty similar record too. I mean, the Chiefs are they just won their first one-score game out of
After
6 tries.
going 11-0 last year,
and they were 0-5
I knew
this year.
that it was going to catch
It
up
always
to
it
them.
was going to it was always going to catch up to them. But yeah, I mean, the AFC, man, it can look a little bleak right now.
I think it does. I think it's tough to find a team that doesn't have some sort of hole. Maybe it's the Pats. They're 6-0 on the road. They have a good enough offense, and they have a pretty stout defense, and they can go on the road and win. I don't know what else you want.
The only thing
I would like for them to have one signature win.
The thing to watch with New England is their left tackle just went out.
Yes.
Against the Bengals, and their left guard went out. Sounds like the guard might not miss as much time, but if their left tackle is out for any amount of time, Drake May's already had. I mean, that offensive line wasn't great to begin with.
No,
Drake May's taken a lot of hits, but man, that's something to watch there.
This is the time of year in the NFL where it's war of attrition. So it's like everybody's beat up. Everybody is beat up. So anyway, let's take a break, and we'll come back and talk about our picks and preview next week. And in the last segment, we're going to talk about, since we're going to be uploading this on Wednesday, a lot of people take Wednesday off and have Friday off, so we'll have podcast goodness for you to watch.
That's
right. We'll talk about our holiday traditions, and we'll do that when we come back on Bet Small Lose Small. As we're recording this Monday night, the 49ers just took a lead.
Did they already?
Yeah.
It's only 8:30. My goodness, the game started 15 minutes ago.
I wanted to go over a few of the games this past week. Your Bills suffered a loss on the road at Houston, 23-19. They just really never fired in that one. I think the Texans are good. They put up 17 points in the second quarter and only scored 3 after.
I want to say this about, first of all, I'm not worried. This game doesn't make me worried because that Texans defense is absolutely sick. And it doesn't, I mean, that's a Thursday night game on the road for the Bills. They had a shot to win it. I mean, it's not like they got blown out of this game.
No.
They made some mistakes. Josh threw some bad passes. He threw a couple picks. It happens. It wasn't one of those games that was it wasn't like the head scratcher against the Falcons, for example. It doesn't bother me that much. That's a game that, those Thursday night games are always weird. Houston really is the thing that I took more out of that game.
You were more impressed by Houston than worried about
More
Buffalo.
impressed by Houston, yeah. I think Houston, if that's what their defense is really like, and they don't even have CJ. I mean, we've actually picked these games the last couple of weeks, assuming that CJ Stroud is coming back, and he hasn't been back yet. He hasn't been cleared, and yet they still keep winning. So once they get Stroud back, if this is really what their defense is like, then man, that's a playoff team. That is a playoff team.
We'll see. The Bears just win, baby. They beat the Steelers 31-28. That game was back and forth the entire game. I think the Steelers are getting exposed. They're going to finish 9-8 or 8-9.
Yeah.
And
Rodgers is out now. We don't know how long Rodgers is going to be out.
yeah.
Yeah, it's starting to look bleak there, especially with the Ravens coming up on them.
The Pats go to Cincinnati, get the win that everybody expected them to get. I do want to say hats off to Joe Flacco.
Oh yeah.
They got him like he was just jettisoned out of Cleveland for almost nothing for a pick swap, and that was basically it.
A toaster oven.
Please go anywhere else.
Yeah.
He has been
A bag of Funyuns. He's been.
I've gotten so much more respect for him. I never really thought he was a great player. He was a good player. To me, he's always kind of a statue that just kind of stood there. But that dude is tough as nails.
He's a relic from a different time.
6'5", 240 pounds, laser
6'5",
rocket arm.
Yeah, 240. Does not move in the pot. He's like a throwback to that Drew Bledsoe, Dan Marino.
I used to see him take these sacks that I didn't think he should take, but then you not everybody's Josh Allen. Not everybody is able to just run around like crazy. Flacco's not that guy, but what he is, he's come to Cincinnati. He's been a calming presence. He's not throwing the ball away, at least not like Jake Browning was. I said last week that I thought that Cincinnati should bring Jake Browning in. I said the backup quarterback. I knew who it was. They should bring Jake Browning in, let Flacco be a backup, and just sit Joe Burrow down. When we found out this week that Joe Burrow and Shedeur Sanders are both going to start for Cleveland and Cincinnati next week.
So are we 100% sure? Are we 100% now that Burrow's coming back for Thanksgiving against the Ravens?
That's what Zach Taylor said.
Okay. All right. I mean, I'm impressed with Flacco too, because at least with him, even when they were losing, and they still lost 4 of 6.
Yeah, I mean they weren't markedly better.
No, but he also proved that it wasn't the offense. It wasn't losing Joe Burrow.
The defense is awful.
The defense is terrible. And with Flacco on the team, you at least. It wasn't really until this week that you thought you felt like the season was lost.
They gave themselves a chance. They took the chance. They are now 3-8, 2-4 at home. I will reiterate, there are 6 games left for the Bengals. There is no reason that Joe Burrow needs to come back and play this season.
None.
If they win all 6, there is an outside shot that they will still lose the division to the Ravens.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they have any shot of winning the division. They are not going to make it as a wild card. They should not be playing Joe Burrow.
No.
I will just stop there.
I agree with that.
The Giants took the Lions to overtime. This makes me worry way more about the Lions than I am impressed by the Giants.
Agreed.
Jared Goff is just, I don't know what's going on with him, but it's not good.
This has been something that, we talked about it last week. His passes are just all over the place. And
they've got a new offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that I don't think that has worked in the way that they wanted it to. And I think what will end up happening is at the end of the season, when they don't have the success that they thought they should have had, they will axe the offensive coordinator and try to go another direction.
I don't think that the offensive coordinator explains why Jared Goff can't connect with open receivers.
Okay, I'll explain it like this. Geno Smith is having the season from hell this year, and it's not Geno Smith's fault.
Well, maybe the Lions can bring in Chip Kelly because the Raiders speaking of Geno. And tangentially, I suppose, we're getting into Shedeur Sanders through this. The Raiders fired their offensive coordinator, Chip Kelly, before this past week of games. And I saw that, and it didn't get a lot of attention. But I was like,
why?
What the fuck did Chip Kelly do? Like, he was tasked with building an offense with this clown show of an offensive line. Was anybody going to, They fired their special teams coach 4 or 5 weeks ago. Now they fired Chip Kelly. What are you doing?
This is what franchises that are destined to be shit do.
Yeah.
The Raiders are destined to be shit because they will not let anything work. They don't invest where they need to invest, and they're a clown show like Cincinnati.
It makes me wonder if the root of the problem isn't actually that the game has kind of passed Pete Carroll by. Pete Carroll is 71, 72.
I don't think that's an issue. I think the their problems can be summed up in 3 words: offensive line stinks.
Sure.
They gave up 10 sacks to Cleveland. Now Cleveland has a pretty good defense, but you don't give up 10 sacks in a game.
No, that's ridiculous. They gave up 6 sacks in the first half last week. The one other thing I'll say about Pete Carroll though is we've seen this before. We've seen this before with the 70-ish year old coach that decides, you know what, I still got a little bit left in the tank. I'm going to try this third act here where I can put 4 or 5 years in and add to my legacy by turning this team around. And we're seeing it right now with Belichick. in North Carolina, and we've seen it before with Bill Parcells tried to come back. You remember when Joe Gibbs tried to come back to the
Yes,
to Washington,
and Parcells did it with the Jets,
with the Cowboys.
No, the Cowboys.
He had that run with the Cowboys there. He was the one that discovered Tony Romo
and Marv Levy.
Marv Levy tried to come back as a general manager, and that did not go well. Marv Levy was almost in his 80s at that point too. I just wonder if there's a point where if I heard today that the Bills had Sean McDermott quit, and they were like, "Well, we're gonna go get we're gonna bring in Tony Dungy," and I'm like, "What?" Or Bill Cowher, or somebody who's old, who's been in the media for a while, or or somebody who stumbled through their last job. If the Bills, let me put it to you this way: if the Bengals fired their coaching staff after this season, how would you feel about them hiring Bill Belichick?
I would, as a general manager, I'd be fine with it. As a coach, I would not be fine with it.
As a general manager, he was kind of the one that sunk Bill Belichick as a coach, though, the last 5 years in New England.
Parcells is 77 or 78 years old at this point.
Belichick. Parcells?
Yeah.
Belichick. But if they hired Bill Belichick, I'm saying.
If they hired Bill Belichick.
Yeah.
No.
I don't want. You're not feeling good about that.
I don't want Belichick.
I can't think of a situation where your team brings in a coach who's in his 70s, who's already had success elsewhere, and that's going to make you feel good about the future of your team. And I think that might be what's happening here with Pete Carroll. We'll see. It's not to take anything away from Pete Carroll. He's one of the few coaches that's actually won a college national championship and a Super Bowl. But that doesn't mean anything today, No,
I don't want any of those guys.
The Raiders stink, and free Geno Smith, somebody take him. Get him out of there. Poor Geno.
Vikings are done for the year. They went to the Packers, got beat 23-6. They're done.
Yeah.
Seahawks took
care of the Titans. Is J.J. McCarthy done?
He might be.
Is J.J. McCarthy the starting quarterback for the Vikings in 2026?
Yes.
You think you're going to give him one more year?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
J.J. McCarthy.
He has 14 picks in his last 6 games.
I would ask you to watch 3 hours of J.J. McCarthy before you, and then we'll ask that question again next week.
Okay.
Okay.
Seahawks go to Nashville, get a win over the Titans. They didn't look great, but they won.
That's right. Yeah. They did what they needed to do. They got shoved around last week by the Rams. Although they did a fair amount of shoving themselves. That was a tough game. Where they really, they had a shot to win at the end too. So, but excuse me. No, I think I don't think we learned anything new about Seattle this week.
No, I don't think so either. We already talked about Colts and Chiefs. Yep. The Jets suck. The Ravens beat them. I don't think the Ravens are very good. Let's touch on the Browns and the Raiders real quick. Shedeur Sanders comes out of this game with a touchdown and an interception, and he earned another start. Do you care?
He was 11 of 20 for 209 yards.
He's not the damn savior in Cleveland. He was picked where he was picked for a reason. No amount of Deion Sanders' goodwill, cajoling, or coaching is going to make Shedeur Sanders a better player. No. Can we just please move on from this?
Yeah. Dylan Gabriel will take that starting job back as soon as he's healthy and ready to go. I'm predicting that right now.
The Jags go to the Cardinals and get a 27-24 OT win. I'm still not sold on the Jags. Trevor Lawrence is a 60% passer, and he looks like it. They have some talent, though.
That would be great in 1997 if you're completing 60% of your passes. That's a top 10 quarterback. I don't know what you do with Trevor Lawrence if you're Jacksonville.
I think you just know what he is.
He's too, and what he is a guy who is aggressively mediocre. Like, He doesn't seem to learn from any of his mistakes. I've said that before, but I'll say it again. He doesn't seem to get any better. It's not that he's bad, but it's like they've got too much invested in him. He was the number 1 overall pick. What is it? We're talking about 5-6 years ago now. So they're paying him an amount of money that probably they can't trade him. They can't just outright cut him because it's going to crush their salary cap.
I mean, they can trade him.
Well, the other thing is, what do you if you're Jacksonville and you're a pretty decently talented team?
You can't trade him when you're 7-4.
And you can't. And you also, it's like, what's the upgrade? Like, who are you upgrading to with Trevor Lawrence?
Here's the problem with the NFL. There are 10 to 12 bankable guys. Mm-hmm. And then after that, there are 20 teams that wish they had one of those 10 to 12 guys.
Right.
Trevor Lawrence is somewhere around 15 to 18.
Yeah.
So would you take an upgrade? Certainly. Can you make it happen? Are any of those upgraded guys available? Absolutely not.
And the thing is, I think it might even be worse than that because I think he's more around that like 11 or 12 range, which is worse because you're on the top end of that middle of the road mediocre.
Yeah.
Throw them all in a bag and pull one out, and you're going to get basically the
okay.
same
So who are those guys? The 12 to 20 guys.
I think Geno's in that discussion. I think Daniel Jones is in that discussion. Tyrod Taylor is probably in there. Jameis Winston.
Oh gosh, no! Jameis is terrible.
Jameis almost beat Detroit this week. Jameis threw for 366 yards. I don't know, man.
Is Jordan Love in there?
Jordan Love is like on the low end of the bankable. He's like 9 or 10 on the bankable. When you're talking about 9 or 10 guys, he's probably on that lower end. I think.
What about the Bears guy?
Caleb, you can put him in that middle of the road thing, but he's young enough that he's got potential, right?
Okay.
It's like Jackson Dart. You know, you can hope that you're not going to take a young guy like Caleb and go, well, you know, I think we can find one of those upgrades because that's a long-term project. You know, it's the situation. The situation that Jacksonville finds themselves in now is that they have a team that can compete for a division title, but they have a quarterback who is, you know,
he's like
you can pretty much bet on 8 wins.
He's like 5 steps below Baker Mayfield.
Right. Yes.
And he's like 2 steps above Kyler Murray.
And and Kyler is maybe going to be in a different on a different
team.
Here's the other question: is Trevor Lawrence in 2 years? Is Trevor Lawrence still the Jacksonville Jaguars?
I think that he can have that kind of, as I said last week, Russ Wilson's season 7 was his best season. I think he can do that, but I don't know that he will.
Okay.
All right, moving on.
Yeah. That was depressing.
Any other comments on Cowboys Eagles? We talked about that.
We said last week when we were breaking down this game that we thought that the best unit on the field was the Dallas offense. Do you still feel that way today?
I think the best unit on the field was the Dallas offense. Yes.
For the second half, at least.
I think
in the first half, I was questioning. I was like, "This is the best unit on the field. Is the Phillies defense?
The Eagles defense is good, and the Eagles offense is okay, and then the Cowboys defense is awful. But they were at home. They're 3-1-1 at home, and they're doing okay. I mean, I think the Cowboys are okay.
They're what now? 5-5-1.
5-5-1.
Let's look at what the remaining schedule for them. So they got KC at home, then they're at Detroit, then they're home for Minnesota and the Chargers, then they're at Washington and the Giants. So
they could win 4 of those.
They could win 4 if they win 5 of those.
They're 10-5-1.
10-5 10-6-1.
10-6-1.
Might get them in the playoffs.
Oh, that would definitely get them in the playoffs.
And I'll tell you what, I would not want to go against that offense in the playoffs. Just like I wouldn't want to go of the teams that are like hovering around 500. It's Houston and Dallas that, like, if they get to the playoffs, I don't want to see them. Dallas because of their offense and Houston because of their defense.
Okay. And lastly, the Buccaneers, Baker Mayfield hurt, left arm injury. They got the shit kicked out of them in L.A. It was over by halftime, 34-7. I think the Bucs are going to really struggle to get in the playoffs.
It looked like Atlanta was basically a write-off a few weeks ago.
I still think they kind of are, but somebody's got to win the NFC
Somebody's
South.
got to win that division, and if Baker is hurt for any amount of time, let me tell you what, Teddy Bridgewater is not getting Tampa Bay.
So is the NFC South favorite the Carolina Panthers at this point, you think?
Well, I think we got to see what happens tonight, how they look against San Francisco. That's going to tell us a lot about
I think
them.
they'll be 6-6 after tonight.
Okay.
But I think that they can get to 9-8.
9-8. I mean, that means Tampa Bay would go 3-3 over their last 6. For them to end up tied with the tiebreaker potential.
I'm worried about my Bucks.
Your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Yeah.
All right, let's do some picks.
All right, let's do
Contest picks.
Contest picks. Oh, we got a twist for it this week that we just came up with minutes ago. Since it's Thanksgiving, we've got just a bananas slate of games starting Thursday into Friday and then on Sunday afternoon and Monday. The slate of games on Thursday is, let me pull this up here. We start with Green Bay at Detroit at 1, Kansas City at Dallas at 4:30, and the Bengals at Baltimore at 8:20, which is
with the return of Joe Burrow
in a kind of important game
for Baltimore.
For Baltimore, kind of for both. I mean, you'd never know, man. I'm telling you that NFC North, I think most likely you're right, the Bengals are done. But 9-8 is still in play. So this is a ridiculous. When was the last time that we had
3 games like this?
3 games like this. When was the last time we had both Detroit and Dallas? At least part of the time on Thanksgiving.
They used to play every Thanksgiving.
They play every Thanksgiving. Every Thanksgiving it's Dallas and Detroit. It's a game. It's a game, home game for Detroit and a home game for Dallas. And it's been a long time since both of those teams were actually good on the same day. At least usually we're at least cussing one of those games every year because they both stink. Because they stink, but this time we didn't, and because
we're going to do a 50 peso bonus bet.
The bonus 50. Here we go.
It has to be a parlay. It has to involve all 3 teams,
and you have to just put all 50 on it.
Let's go.
Okay,
let's hear yours.
You're ready for mine.
Yep.
All right. I like the Green Bay Detroit over 49.5 at -105. I like Dallas money line plus 152 over the Chiefs.
Whoa, okay.
And I like the Cincinnati Toe Burrow Bengals plus 7 at -108. You want to know what that gets me to?
Let's hear it.
Plus 847.
Oh, gosh.
Boom.
All right.
Top that one.
That's
Top
a huge
that
bet.
Yeah.
I don't have plus 847.
Okay. The bonus 50. Let's go.
I've got the Dallas Cowboys alternate spread plus 6.5. That's -200. I've got the Green Bay Packers alternate spread plus 5.5 at the Lions. That's -194. I've got the Bengals alternate spread plus 9.5 plus
Very nice.
Jamar Chase anytime touchdown. That gets me to plus 164, and a total for the parlay is plus 501.
Nice. I love it. I love it. The bonus 50. And this will go, even though we just came up with this a few minutes ago, look, if the NBA can famously change the playoff rules in mid-season, we can change our contest rules anytime we want to. So this will go towards our total.
All right.
One way or the other. And I'm going to say, too, this is a bonus 50 that, like, if we don't hit these bets, we're not going to take 50 off. It's just an extra 50.
Okay.
So we're starting a new tradition right here today for
Thanksgiving game
for all of our
games.
for all of our phrasing. For all of those listeners out there who enjoy the contest. It's an annual tradition.
All right.
Starting now.
I've got a 5-leg parlay.
Okay.
I'm going back to the well after hitting a 5-teamer this week.
You certainly are. Okay. You're gonna push your luck again.
These are all money.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the balls.
All money line. Ravens minus 355. Eagles minus 320. Seahawks minus 650. Chargers minus 590. Denver minus 340. And that gets me to a plus 193. Not a big number. That's 40 pesos.
But I like that because it's what you did last week. You picked some that
I think
are
they're
pretty solid favorites.
Yeah, these are pretty big favorites.
You're not going road dogs. You're not throwing a shaky favorite in there. These are all solid winners that have shown us that they've got at least one elite trait, at least one elite unit. Also, Baltimore is in there.
I think the one that might screw me up is Washington. Denver's at Washington.
You think so?
I think it's possible.
I think Washington's in mail it in mode.
I think they're in bad shape, but they're on the road. It's just one of those games.
It would be a spot for Bo Nix to do something weird.
It's the Sunday night game.
Yeah. I think Baltimore is the one that screws that up.
All right, what do you got?
I have a 2-leg parlay. You're going to love this. I've got Green Bay plus 124 at Detroit. I like getting a plus number from Green Bay at Detroit. I don't know why. I just think that Detroit is in trouble.
They're floundering.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I think they're kind of floundering.
So they're plus 124 at Detroit, and I'm also taking your New York Football Jets.
Oh, gosh, twice in a week.
Plus 124 with Atlanta coming to town because there's Kirk Cousins. There's no Drake London. It's at the Jets, outside, could be shitty weather. Tyrod Taylor actually looked like a competent quarterback for the Jets, and the Jets are not quitting. The Jets traded away their best defensive players, and they are not giving up. They are playing like their pants are on fire. So I'm putting 20 on that at plus 401.
Good luck to you, sir.
Yes, sir. Can't believe I have money on the Jets 2 weeks in a row. God,
I can't believe it either.
What the fuck is wrong with
I don't know. You need to lay off the
I hate
sauce.
the goddamn Jets.
I got a 3-leg parlay.
Mm-hmm.
It is Ravens, Eagles, Colts, minus 355, minus 320, minus 215. And that is 30 pesos, and that's plus 146.
I like that.
It's a, double your money, move on.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do. Claw
Yeah.
our way back to respectability.
Yeah, claw your way back, man. You don't have to take big chunks out of it. Just double it. You took 100 off of your losings last week. Take another 100 off. Get it done.
Well, we got a big one coming up.
Okay, good.
Here we go.
All right. I liked your strategy of doing an alt line parlay last week.
All right, let's hear it.
So I'm taking Chicago alt line of plus 10.5. That's up from, I believe it's plus 6.5.
That's a big number.
I'd have to look at that. But that's minus 200. I've got Arizona plus 6.5. Now they're at Tampa Bay, but we think Baker Mayfield's probably not playing.
I think he's hurt.
Yeah.
And they have a semi-competent quarterback now, too.
Yeah. So I took that from plus 3.5 to plus 6.5. That got me to minus 210. And I'm taking Houston alternate line plus 7.5. I can't figure out why Houston was such an underdog at Indy. We're pretty sure Stroud is coming back. Their defense is sick. Indy did not look good against the Chiefs team. That their defense is, not all that, not great. But anyway, I got those three teams, all those alt lines together. They were all right around the minus 200 to 215 range, and I got those for plus 224. I'm putting 30 pesos on that one.
My last bet is go for broke, kind of. I'm doing this with the number here.
Okay.
L.A. Chargers minus 9.5 hosting the Las Vegas Raiders. I think the Raiders suck. out loud, and they're in big bad trouble. And I think the Chargers are going to put it on them like 34-10.
Okay.
This year we're doing Thanksgiving on Wednesday.
You told me about this.
Because my family never does Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving, historically or currently.
Okay.
We just, for whatever reason, we just don't.
Okay.
When I was a kid, we always did Thanksgiving at my mom's parents' house. See, growing up, all my family lived really close, like 15 minutes to one house and 10 minutes to the parents' house. And my dad's parents were very old. Like my dad's dad was born in 1899.
Oh my. Okay.
And my dad's mother died in 1982.
Okay.
So I was born in 74, so you can do that math. I don't remember her much. But we always went to my mom's parents like the Saturday before.
Saturday before Thanksgiving.
Saturday
Okay.
before Thanksgiving.
So like what would have been just this past weekend.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
So we never did Thanksgiving at my house ever. Not growing up, and we don't do it now. We're doing it on Wednesday this year because my family couldn't all get all in one place at once, and I have a special circumstance. My kids are I split time with their mother,
right.
So we kind of have to figure out. And one of them is a full blown adult with her own life now. Dag nabbit. So you have to like navigate all those waters too.
You had to remind me of that. I changed that kid's diapers. My goodness.
Yeah, so is yours.
Yeah,
mine's
I know,
22.
I know. Yeah.
So we're doing it Wednesday, but it got me to thinking like, did you have any like holiday traditions that you like did every year that you kind of looked forward to?
Yeah. So I grew up. I think it's worth mentioning. You grew up in Kentucky.
Rural Kentucky. Small town.
Which is now is the same area, is not necessarily quite as rural as it used to be.
Not as rural.
But it's still.
Well, we live in Georgetown, which is one of the fastest growing cities and counties in the state.
Yeah, it's
back then we got a Walmart and it was a big freaking deal in Bourbon County.
Right. So I grew up in upstate New York, in a Geneva, New York, which is like 50, I think it was like 14 or 15,000 people at the time. Like I remember going to my first concert and thinking there's as many people in this arena as live in my town. And it just was like, I don't even have a concept of that. So a lot of my family lived in East Aurora, New York, which is near Buffalo, generally Buffalo area. East Aurora, Orchard Park, where the Bills play. Few of them lived in Rochester. So everyone was like between an hour and 2 hours away. We always did Thanksgiving at my dad's grandparents' place on my dad's side. And then what we usually would do is we would go over from there. It was about a 45 minute to an hour drive to my mom's parents' place in Niagara Falls. They lived like in the city of Niagara Falls. So we would go do Thanksgiving, then we would go spend a couple hours with my mom's side of the family, and then we'd come back to East Aurora. Usually we'd stay a couple days, because back then it's funny because a 2-hour drive to East Aurora, New York from Geneva was like a long drive. And now it's like 2 hours is like, I mean, I'm not even going to get through all my podcasts that I want to listen to.
2-hour drive is like, it's like the shortest long drive or the longest short drive.
Yeah.
Our family trips were 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like if we went 30 minutes, oh my God.
Right. So I always looked forward to that as a kid because we'd stay at my grandparents' place. Grandma would make big breakfasts and big, huge lunches and all that. We'd be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, come home on Sunday.
See, I always saw that in the movies, and I'm like, my family is nothing like this. All these people that grew up in cities, and had access to like things in real cities, like museums and buildings with more than 4 stories. And
I mean, we weren't going to we weren't like, this wasn't like, there's no skyline of East Aurora. It's, they had the like one of the world's last remaining 5 and dime stores called Vidler's downtown. That was like one of the coolest places to go in all the land. I mean, Geneva was actually bigger than East Aurora. So if you think of it in those terms, Orchard Park is also not very big. That's where the Bills play. It's about an hour outside of Buffalo. So I mean, but it was always something that we looked forward to. That I looked forward to as a kid because of going and staying over at Grandma's during Thanksgiving break. Christmas was a little bit different story, but do you have any Christmas stories?
One of my most Christmas traditions, we did this every year for the entirety of the years that I was growing up. We went to my mom's parents on Christmas Eve, and we did family or Christmas with her whole family, which was, she had a brother, a sister, they had kids, this, that, and the other. And then on Christmas night, we always went to my dad's parents, which was his brother, his dad, and all their family, associated family. And then we had an aunt or something that would come every year. So that was what we did for years. Like that was like, you knew that was coming. I grew up in one of those households that like, my kids are product of divorce. So they've had, and they have had grandparents that lived in Ohio. So they've had very, very different upbringings than me. But the Christmas I remember probably the most was the year that my cousin Garla came home with us for Christmas. And I thought, that's so great. Garla's here. This is so cool. I was 5. Her mother had been killed in a car wreck.
Oh my God.
Like the 23rd of December.
Oh.
And her family she was the only one that was really unhurt. Her sister had a brain injury. Her dad was very badly injured. Her mom was dead from a drunk driver.
Jeez.
Hit them basically in their driveway.
Yeah.
But like as a child, I wasn't registering those things, and the adults had not told me those things.
Okay.
But I can remember she got a Sean Cassidy guitar for Christmas, and they had put her stuff in a big black garbage bag and brought it to our house, and we had Christmas morning.
Jeez.
So we have pictures of her when she's like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Just kind of in shock.
God, that's rough.
It was.
How old was she at the time?
She was 8, and I was like 5.
Ooh, man. Okay.
4 or 5, but that was like very memorable. But like we've talked about best thing, worst thing. That's been kind of a on again, off again topic. My best Christmas present ever was, we always got the gaming systems like a year or 2 late. We didn't get an Atari 2600 until 1984. But when we got that Atari 2600,
you wore that thing out.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah. We never had. I never got one of those Atari systems. I remember one year, my parents found Atari made this. It was the same kind of deal, except like the shape of it and everything. Except all it was like a keyboard. It was like a computer.
It was like the 5200.
Yeah, it was like kind of, but it was like a keyboard. It had a slot to put in cartridges, but it didn't take any of the games that like were on the 2600 or whatever. And it had a cassette player that attached to it that you could get games that would run off of a cassette off the tape.
Yes.
And those are actually pretty cool. I remember my dad had this one, it was called Legionnaire, and it was like, basically, you remember the old board games, like the Avalon Hill games that had like the little square cardboard pieces, and that was like the game, and they had the hexes and all that. That was like what this game was except on a video game. I thought that was crazy cool. And then the tape would get stuck, and you'd have to start over. But it was like one of the more useless gaming systems that I've ever seen, because you couldn't get any games for it, because it was not widely adopted at all. I remember one year I got my brother got. I was really into Transformers, which have made the huge comeback, the last couple.
They had a huge movie release and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, the last decade or so, they've become a thing again. So I've still got all these old, like when they made them out of like metal and all that stuff. So I got some of those sitting around. Like I got an old Optimus Prime that's probably, might be worth a few bucks. I don't know. But there was one year when I wanted I had put on my Christmas list the big, like the big Transformer. It was like a scorpion that turned into a base that turned into a big tall dude, and it was like this big, and I was sure that I was getting this thing, and my brother opens the big gift, and it's his.
Oh no!
And
did they mislabel?
I don't know what happened, but I lost my ever loving shit.
Yes.
Now it was okay because then later on I got like my grandfather who worked for Fisher Price for years and years and years in East Aurora. They were headquartered in East Aurora. I got the Fisher Price was the maker of Constructs. You remember Constructs?
Yeah, okay.
With the little cube things with the knots on them and the sticks you'd stick. It was like, basically building, kind of a Legos thing, not really. But I got the big I got the space shuttle pack that was like the big rolling launch pad with the space shuttle and everything. So that was
very cool.
That worked out pretty well. I don't remember a lot of like big gifts. I know later on, this was the thing about going to my grandparents at the holidays was that we would always go to my grandparents for Christmas Eve. We'd do Christmas Eve at my grandparents', which meant that at my house, Christmas morning was like 2 days before Christmas Eve.
Okay. So that was weird.
Yeah. So Santa had to make an early stop. We were on the early list is what my parents would tell me. So we'd have Christmas morning like 2 days before. But then the thing that sucked about that was, especially once I was into like video games later on, I'd get a couple cool games that I'd asked for. And then we're packing up and going to East Aurora, and sometimes we're there for like a week.
Did you take your system
with you?
I
didn't take the system with me because my grandparents didn't really have a TV that would work with. Because they still had the old. It was terrible.
This is awful.
Oh, it's terrible.
It's like torture.
And I was like, when are we leaving? And they're like, it's a couple more days. We got a few more things we're going to do here. And I'm like, we're sitting around and we're eating food. Like, I've got Sim City at home, man. Like, and Super Mario. Like, just get the fuck out of here.
We did get a NES finally in like '88, December of '88. Maybe it was December '87. I remember all the big gifts we got. Mm-hmm. Electric football one year was one of the big gifts.
Oh God, I never had one of those. Well, my dad had one.
I played that with my granddad constantly.
Yeah.
We got a Hot Wheels Wipeout track, which was it had a turnstile thing and it would do the loop.
Yep.
And we wore it out. We like literally wore the turbo booster out. Uh-huh. One year we got the Knight Rider slot car thing.
Okay.
That was very cool.
Yeah.
The Atari was a big one.
Mm-hmm.
The NES was probably the best one.
Yeah.
Getting Duck Hunt on Christmas morning after all the other kids had it was still fucking cool.
My parents were surprisingly anti-video game for a while. I mean, we had cable TV in my house. I know we've talked about this before. I had cable pretty early on. Like I remember watching MTV and having cable channels and all that. But my parents were my mom and dad were like, well, especially my mom was like, video games rot your brain.
No,
kids don't need to be playing video games. It was one of those kinds of deals. So she basically made a deal with me that it was like, if you're going to have a Nintendo, like you're going to have to buy it, which was like a crushing thing to hear because I was like, well, that's $100. Like to a kid, you're like $100.
14-year-old kid saving allowance for like months at a time.
But I did it. And I got the Nintendo. I did that. I got that motherfucker. I was like, I'm getting this. And then it opened up then I was like, I don't need toys anymore. Like now I want video games. And then it was the same thing with Super Nintendo. When Super Nintendo came out, my mom was like, you're buying that thing yourself. And so I was like, all right.
Well, it was like
challenge accepted.
150, something like that.
Yeah. And I had a paper route and everything.
My dad, we played a lot of video games, Atari, especially early on, and then later on, NES. Mm-hmm. My dad, I don't know if he coined the phrase, but he said, you're going to be a vidiot. He called me a vidiot.
That's brilliant.
Wow. This is the same guy, though, that rented me out to various other farmers.
Phrasing.
Yeah, right. For $4 an hour, or $3.50 or $4 an hour usually at the time.
Are we breaking news here, Lanny?
No,
Was there
that was
is this
for
a
farm
trafficking
labor.
situation?
Farm labor,
You probably want to lead with that next time you
baling
tell a story.
hay, working in tobacco. A lot of hay baling. I worked for my great uncle. I worked for lots of different folks.
Okay.
But I did not have to buy my own gaming system.
Okay.
Those eventually came
Yeah.
because
okay.
my parents made it. We got $100 every year for Christmas. That was another tradition. My
okay.
granddad would give everybody that showed up $100.
Yeah.
And this was the same guy that gave you $1 on your birthday. Literally born in 1899. So he was in his
It's
30s.
$1. He was like, you go nuts down at the 5 and dime.
Exactly. He was 30 when the Great Depression hit. So just put that in your context.
Yeah.
This is 1980. He's $1 for your birthday, but he gave $100 after tobacco money came in to everybody at Christmas. And so we saved that thing in a savings account for years.
Nice. That's crazy. I remember getting a lot of savings bonds, like my parents. And this is another thing. Like years later when I met Aaron, which was not until I was 18 in college or whatever. I learned that was a thing that her family did too. Was savings bonds. Savings bonds.
We just put cash in the bank.
Yeah, we had savings bonds that would like $50 savings bonds, $100 savings bonds that would eventually mature. They're one of the worst possible investments that you could make, really, when it comes down to it. We cashed in. I remember when Aaron and I were buying our first house, we cashed in like a stack of savings bonds. And we got like $900.
Oh, that's
and it was like, this is what, like, we could have just put $1 into like Microsoft and had this amount by that point.
I'll do one more thing and then we'll wrap this up. You were talking about throwing a hissy fit. I think this is like 2 years ago. So I'm seeing this as an adult.
Okay.
Yeah. And I've got a then 13-year-old child whose sister was getting her very first phone for Christmas.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, I know where this is going.
So Marg opens up her phone. And Lillian has had a phone for a little while, but it's kind of an old crappy phone. Marg opens up her phone and it's like a brand new iPhone 14, I want to say.
Okay.
The look on Lillian's face. She was like,
That's great. That's great.
She was so mad.
Oh,
it ruined Christmas for her.
Oh man, that's terrible.
I was like pretty ticked, but now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, they move on.
The younger sister got a better phone.
Yeah.
So anyway, we had to rectify that for her birthday.
Well, they move on pretty quickly. See, we only had the one. Evan's an only child, so we didn't. We never had those kinds of things. She was always really never was like disappointed with any gift that we got her.
Hey.
But she would do the oh, this is really nice. And that was when we were like, yeah, you fucking hate that one.
Ah, God.
Because she'd have things that she wanted that she'd tell us about. And then we'd give her a couple other extra things here and there. And she'd be like, oh, okay. It's like, right.
Sometimes I think about holidays then and how they were and now. And it's just like,
I know.
Totally. Singing as an adult is a different thing.
We've been called old men in the comments on a lot of our videos because we've got a little bit of gray in the.
I've got a lot of
gray in the shrubbery here, but we've really dated ourselves with this talk.
The talk of the 80s.
Yeah, talk about Atari and shit.
All right, so we will. So I hope everyone has a good holiday. May you have peace in your house.
Eat tons of turkey.
That's the thing I wish anybody have peace in your house.
Yeah.
So we'll come back and try again next week.
Sounds good to me. Oh, we should say follow us on TikTok, Instagram,
Facebook.
YouTube is where we put up the video podcast, but it also goes up as a video podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Bet small, lose small at gmail.com if you want to send us a personal message. We keep up with the comments, man. We like to go in and see.
We like to come in the comments.
Although I tell you what, I'm disappointed.
If you're going to throw an elbow in the comments, we're coming back.
Yeah. The only thing I gotta ask is, like, I'm disappointed with the guys that go, "Oh, that's a real original thought." I'm like, the irony of that, of you posting that. Like, did you just came up with that yourself, buddy?
But as always, dude that posted that comment, we appreciate you coming to our podcast and having something to say.
That's right. All right. Well, we'll see you. We'll see you next week. Enjoy Thanksgiving. Enjoy this kick-ass slate of games. We'll see you next Wednesday.